The Great Barrier Reef is one of nature's most magnificent creations. Tucked away in the northeastern corner of Australia, this marvelous World Heritage Site is home to a multitude of marine life. Its vibrant corals, shimmering fish, and other diverse species form an intricate ecosystem, a living masterpiece of unparalleled beauty and biodiversity. Yet, this wonder of the world is under siege. It's facing a multitude of threats, each more alarming than the last. One such menace is coral bleaching, a silent killer that's whitening the reef's once vibrant hues. This phenomenon is caused by a rise in sea temperatures due to global warming, leading to the loss of the vital algae that provide corals with their food in stunning colors. The result? Weakened corals that are more susceptible to disease. Another adversary is ocean acidification. As our oceans take in more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, they become more acidic. This shift in the pH balance hampers the ability of corals and other marine organisms to build and maintain their calcium carbonate skeletons, which are crucial for the reef structure. Pollution, too, is wreaking havoc on this underwater paradise. Runoff from agricultural activities laden with pesticides, fertilizers, and sediments can flow into the reef areas, smothering corals and encouraging the growth of harmful algae. Plastic pollution, an omnipresent threat, poses potential harm through ingestion and entanglement. The reef is also grappling with the effects of overfishing. Unsustainable fishing practices can deplete fish populations, disrupt food chains, and lead to the degradation of reef ecosystems. The loss of key species such as herbivorous fish can lead to an increase in algae growth, which competes with corals. Lastly, habitat destruction, from coastal development, dredging, to the creation of shipping lanes, physically destroys reef habitats and increases sedimentation, which can smother corals. The Great Barrier Reef is under threat, but what exactly are these threats and how can we address them? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into these issues, exploring their impacts and the potential solutions to safeguard this irreplaceable wonder. Imagine losing your source of food and color, leaving you weak and susceptible to disease. This is what coral bleaching does to the corals in the Great Barrier Reef. Coral bleaching is a phenomenon that, while silent, screams volumes about the health of our oceans. Picture a vibrant, colorful underwater metropolis, teeming with life. Now imagine that same city, but the buildings, the corals are stark white, stripped of their color and vitality. That's coral bleaching in a nutshell. But what causes this? The culprit is rising sea temperatures, primarily due to global warming. Corals are like a high-functioning team, with tiny algae living in their tissues providing them with food and color. But when the water gets too warm, the corals get stressed and expel these crucial algae, leaving them weak, white, and more susceptible to disease. The effects are devastating. Not only do these bleached corals struggle to survive, but they also become less capable of supporting the diverse marine life that calls the reef home. And when the reef suffers, so do the millions of people who rely on it for their livelihoods. But as with every problem, there are potential solutions. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions is crucial to slowing the onslaught of global warming, and in turn, the bleaching of our reefs. We also need to bolster our efforts in marine conservation, creating protected areas where corals can recover and thrive. The ocean is becoming more acidic, and this is causing havoc for the Great Barrier Reef. This invisible threat is known as ocean acidification. It isn't something we can see with our naked eyes, yet its impacts are devastatingly real. Imagine the ocean as a giant sponge soaking up carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. This process has been going on for millions of years, helping to keep our planet's climate balanced. But with the Industrial Revolution, we've been pumping out carbon dioxide at an unprecedented pace. The ocean is struggling to keep up, absorbing about a quarter of these emissions. So what happens when the ocean absorbs all this extra carbon dioxide? The result is a chemical reaction that turns the seawater more acidic, lowering its pH. This may not sound like a big deal, but even a slight change in pH can have massive implications for marine life. You see, many marine creatures, including corals, rely on the seawater's minerals to build their calcium carbonate skeletons. This is the very foundation of the Great Barrier Reef. As the ocean becomes more acidic, it becomes harder for these organisms to extract the necessary minerals, causing their structures to weaken and making them more susceptible to disease and damage. This process is akin to osteoporosis in humans, where bones become fragile and brittle. In the same way, corals in an acidic ocean struggle to maintain their skeletal strength. As their structures crumble, so does the intricate and diverse ecosystem they support. But there's hope. Just as we have the power to exacerbate this problem, we also have the power to alleviate it. Reducing our carbon emissions is the first step. By transitioning to renewable energy sources, improving energy efficiency, and rethinking our consumption habits, we can begin to curb the amount of carbon dioxide we're releasing into the atmosphere. This isn't a quick fix. It will take time and commitment. Yet the health of our oceans and the survival of incredible ecosystems like the Great Barrier Reef depend on it. Combating ocean acidification will require concerted efforts to reduce our carbon emissions. Our oceans are not just water bodies, they are also the unfortunate recipients of our waste. It's a statement that rings true, especially when we consider the plight of the Great Barrier Reef. A major culprit in the degradation of this aquatic wonderland is pollution, particularly agricultural runoff and plastic waste. Imagine a steady stream of harmful substances like pesticides, fertilizers, and sediments flowing into the reef areas. This runoff doesn't just settle quietly, it smothers the corals, choking their ability to breathe and grow. It's akin to someone pouring buckets of dirt onto a thriving garden, suffocating the life out of it. It's not a pretty picture, is it? But it doesn't stop there. This runoff also promotes the growth of harmful algae, further tipping the scales against the corals. The algae, like an opportunistic invader, seizes the chance to proliferate and dominate, pushing the corals to the brink of survival. And then there's the issue of plastic pollution. It's not just unsightly, it's deadly. Plastic debris poses a serious threat to marine life, causing harm through ingestion and entanglement. The plastic waste we thoughtlessly discard can end up in the ocean, wreaking havoc on the reef ecosystem. It's a danger that's both palpable and preventable. So what can we do? The answer lies in responsible waste management. It's about making conscious choices to reduce, reuse, and recycle. It's about supporting initiatives that promote cleaner, healthier oceans, like beach cleanups and plastic bans. It's about advocating for stricter regulations on agricultural runoff to prevent harmful substances from entering our water bodies in the first place. But it's also about education and awareness. It's about understanding that our actions on land have far-reaching consequences, that the health of our oceans is intrinsically linked to our survival. It's about realizing that the Great Barrier Reef is not just a stunning tourist attraction. It's a vital, living ecosystem that needs our help. Our actions on land significantly affect the health of the oceans. It's time we take responsibility. Overfishing is not just about depleting fish populations. It's also about disrupting the balance of the oceanic ecosystem. Fish are not merely swimming protein sources. They play a crucial part in maintaining the health and structure of marine habitats, including the Great Barrier Reef. Let's take a deep dive into the ocean and visualize the intricate web of life that thrives beneath the surface. Picture the herbivorous fish, like the parrotfish, that graze on the algae, keeping its growth in check and allowing the corals to flourish. Now imagine the scenario where these herbivorous fish are overfished. The algae grow unchecked, outcompeting the corals for space and resources, leading to a decline in coral health and diversity. But it's not just about the herbivorous fish. Overfishing also targets predatory fish, the ones at the top of the food chain. Their decline can trigger a domino effect, disrupting the balance and leading to an overpopulation of their prey, which in turn can deplete their own food sources. And then there's the issue of destructive fishing methods. Bottom trawling, for instance, is akin to bulldozing the seafloor, annihilating the corals in its path. Ghost nets, abandoned fishing gear, continue to trap and kill marine life long after they've been forgotten by humans. So what can we do about it? Well, for starters, we can advocate for and support sustainable fishing practices. This includes enforcing fishing quotas, restricting destructive fishing methods, and establishing marine protected areas where fishing is prohibited. Consumer choices also play a significant role. By choosing to consume only sustainably caught seafood, we can create a demand for responsible fishing and put a halt to the practices that are hurting the Great Barrier Reef. In the end, it's all about equilibrium. The ocean is a complex, interconnected ecosystem, and every creature, from the tiniest plankton to the largest shark, has its role to play. Managing our fish consumption is a crucial step towards preserving the Great Barrier Reef. Our desire for coastal development is putting the Great Barrier Reef's very existence in jeopardy. As we build, dredge, and create shipping lanes, we're directly attacking the reef, our actions leading to habitat destruction and increased sedimentation that can suffocate corals. Imagine this. Every time we build a new coastal property or create a shipping lane, we might as well be taking a sledgehammer to the reef. The damage is that direct and that brutal. But all is not lost. We can still turn the tide. By incorporating careful planning and ecological considerations into our development projects, we can minimize our impact on the reef. We could use sustainable building materials, limit dredging, and design shipping lanes to avoid sensitive areas. Just because we need to develop doesn't mean we have to destroy. It's high time we consider the ecological cost of our development activities. The threats to the Great Barrier Reef are many, but so are the solutions. We've explored coral bleaching, caused by the Earth's rising temperatures, and ocean acidification, a result of increased carbon dioxide absorption. We've seen how pollution, from agricultural runoff to plastic debris, smothers and harms our corals, while overfishing disrupts the delicate balance of reef ecosystems. We've witnessed the direct destruction of habitats through coastal development, dredging, and the creation of shipping lanes. These threats are not insurmountable. They call for a concerted effort on both a global and local scale to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, regulate fishing practices, manage pollution, and protect and restore reef habitats. Each of us holds a piece of the puzzle in our hands, and together we can create a picture of a thriving, vibrant Great Barrier Reef. The fate of the Great Barrier Reef lies in our hands. It's time we take action.